and not take up any more time on your Wednesday afternoon. My name is Courtney Hewinkle. I am the English language teaching consultant for SEED. We are a distributor, importer, main importer and distributor of books, foreign language books in the country. It's possible that you've received emails from me for the past 15 years, because for about 10 years, I worked directly for Oxford University Press. And now as the official exclusive distributor of OUP, I obviously work very closely with them still. And I am, for all intents and purposes, the Oxford University Press representative. That being said, we are the main distributor. We work with every publisher and we sell every publisher. So if you have any questions about other materials, you can come to us, me as well. We're happy to help out. So have a few more people coming in. My job is to look after teachers and schools directly. So we do sell directly to schools, and we also work with partner bookshops across the country. That being said, if we're talking about reading today and readers, but if you have any questions regarding methods for next year, do get in touch. I can sort out some e-samples and things, or physical copies if you need them, to choose for next year. Moving right along. Today we're going to be looking at Extensive Reading and Oxford Reading Club, which is a new online interactive library by Oxford University Press. Oxford University Press is well known for their readers, their graded readers, and their, I would think, unless I'm biased, generally regarded as the highest quality ones. A lot of work goes into them. It's not just dumbing down the language, it really is making sure it fits within a specific grade level or language level within the Common European Framework, and also making it interesting. I think that's a key point and a pleasure to read. So what we're going to look at today is, if I can get my computer to work, what is extensive reading? What is the Oxford Reading Club, and how does it support extensive reading? And then how can we implement it in our classes? So this is a graphic adapted from Teaching Reading Skills in a Foreign Language by Christine Nuttall. I think it's something that you could all be familiar with, the idea of the vicious circle. This is obviously how it applies to reading and extensive reading, but it could apply to anything. I'm sure you have your own learning experiences where you feel that this is how you learn something. For example, me, I've been trying to teach myself guitar for the better half of my life, and I don't play very much, and I don't play very well, and I don't make very much progress, and therefore I enjoy it less than I would, even though it's something I really want to do. So we're very well aware that there are readers and non-readers out there, but hopefully with an idea of extensive reading and how it's different from intensive reading, we can make more non-readers readers, if that makes any sense. Any of you have are any of you learning anything that this vicious circle applies to? Like I said, me, it was guitar. I don't know, it could be painting, or it could be learning another language. I think we all understand the vicious circle. So we're going to try to turn that around. Oops, there's still more people coming in. What is extensive reading? In their book, Extensive Reading in the Second Language Classroom, Richard Day and Julian Bamford set out 10 principles of extensive reading. We're going to be looking at 7 of them today, and here they are on your screen. If you could just, in the chat box, please, see if you can come up, these are the keywords, obviously, from a sentence regarding the principle. If you could just give me a couple of guesses on what you think these principles are based on the keywords in the chat box, please. Easy, variety, choose, lots, pleasure, individual, fluency. Every student should identify 9-10 words and understand them. Choose something simple but gives pleasure to read. Yes. Easy to not start with challenging texts. I think that is perhaps for me personally, um, the most important of these principles. Um, because the idea with extensive reading is that we want it to be a pleasant experience. Um, and if something is really hard, then it's not very nice always. You can enjoy a challenge, but if you're looking at number one, the reading material is easy. If you have to take a dictionary and look up every seventh word, it's a bit of a struggle, and it's probably not very much fun. To give you an example, I thought I was a bit of a hotshot in French when I was about 20. I had taken 6 years in junior high and high school, take the last year and a half at university, had done my French. I thought I was good. I was a literature major. I had read this book 5 times in English for various courses. And so the first book I decided to read in French was L'Assommoir by Zola. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Great book. Way too hard for me to read at my level of French at that moment. And it really was a frustrating and discouraging experience. And I don't think I picked up a book in French to read for quite a while after that, because I was a bit disgusted from the experience. So the easier things are, the more we might enjoy reading it. Because again, the idea is not to struggle. A wide variety of material. You need, if you enjoy reading magazines, you might enjoy reading magazines in English. Fiction, nonfiction. Very good idea, though, to choose a book or universe that you knew in your own language. I tried. I still did it wrong, but I still don't think I've read it in French. So a wide variety is necessary, or needs to be available as well, so you can sort of choose. If most of the reading we do in a class is going to be imposed, intensive reading, for example, is where we have a text in a course book, for example, where we're going to study the language in it. We might not enjoy the text so much, but we have to do it for work, for school. Extensive reading is the opposite of that. Read as much as possible, read for pleasure, read easy language so that it just sort of absorb structures. There's a lot of emphasis in France, when I'm talking to teachers, put on, especially at the high school level, authentic texts, which kind of drives me crazy, because whereas I think there is a time, obviously, for authentic texts, when you're learning, graded language is still real language. It still counts. Graded language is not dumbed down. It's just, if you have a B2 or C1 expression, it's just a version of that expression in A2. And if a person can use that and learn it, great. And then they'll eventually move on to the higher level materials. And again, the idea of fluency is important. The easier it is, the more they'll just absorb, and just without even realizing it, picking up language as they go. Which one of these do you think is the most important to you guys? Like I said, to me, it's important that the material is easy. We used to have with Oxford these posters. I wish they'd do them again. I might have to request it, of a different level of the Oxford bookworms, for example, starter all the way to 6, just a text of it. And we used to be able to give out these posters where you could put them up on your wall, and you can have a student walk up to the wall and just start reading each of the texts. And then as soon as they got to a text that was somewhat uncomfortable, that their level should be the level before whatever text they started getting uncomfortable at. Because again, if you're picking up a dictionary every other minute, that's not very nice at all. Interesting stories, easy, pleasure, not individual. It can be a collective. Well, it depends on what it is. If it's extensive reading, the idea is that it takes most of it will take place outside of class, so it's on their own. I know in class we may ask people to read aloud and do collective things. Or do you mean we could read the same book altogether? That's a different type of reading. Extensive reading is really the idea that a student has access to lots of things, can read as much as they want at their level. Moving on. So hopefully if we use, we can put into some of those principles into practice, we will then turn the vicious circle into the virtuous circle, and we'll have students who read more, who will necessarily understand better, who will therefore read faster, and then enjoy reading, and so on and so forth. All right, based on the things that we've talked about so far, what do you think are some of the benefits of extensive reading? I have a list, of course, but I thought it'd be nice if you came up with some. I've been using that. I've been using that for 10 years, at least with the same people who enjoy choosing their own book, how proud they are when they realize they can take the text. Yes, exactly. Finishing a book in English. And that's motivating, even if it's easier. Starting and finishing a book, absorbing natural grammar and language patterns. Yes, students learn by themselves, learning without learning, natural learning of language structure, absorbing structure, expanding your vocabulary. Yeah, agreed. To me, the most important one in this is the idea that you can have access to so much more language with a book than we can give them in a class. When we have a class, it's about a theme or something, and obviously we can teach them vocabulary. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that in a book, much more vocabulary in context than we can do in a class. So to me, that's the most important one. Obviously, if you're working on your reading and you're absorbing language and you're absorbing structures, idiomatic structures, and correct grammar structures, then you're also improving your writing, your speaking, and your listening. And so as this is something that's outside of class, it's a great way to increase contact with the language, and is sort of a good bang for your buck kind of learning experience. Extensive reading gives a knack to many other learning processes, like writing and other skills develop. Yes, exactly. And this is obviously going to help them in their English, but if they're students, this can help them in these sort of skills can help them across all their subjects as well. Moving on to the Oxford Reading Club. What is it? Just curious, have any of you been on to have a look at it or seen anything about the Oxford Reading Club? No. Learning about different cultures? Yes. Julie has. No, sorry. No worries. I understood we're going to do it now. No problem at all. Great. Okay. What is the Oxford Reading Club? The Oxford Reading Club is an online interactive library. And it is a library, because as you see here, there are over 700 titles covering 12 different OUP graded readers series. Many of them award-winning titles. They do tend to win awards for their readers quite often, covering the phonics books to literature, classic titles, new original stories written for the reader series. There's Dora the Explorer in here. There's Paw Patrol. There's something for everybody. And so in terms of a variety, we're certainly there. Another thing that is special about it is that it is interactive. For at least the primary books, which there are many, there's a 5-step reading process. So they don't just read a book, they have a little vocabulary game to get them familiar with some of the key language that they're going to come across in the book. Then they have Listen Up, where they can just listen to the story and see the pictures without seeing the text. And then obviously they can read it, they can listen along, and they can slow down the speed, they can speed up the text. Then there are speak up activities where they can practice some of the key language in it, which can be, if you have the LMS version, they can save it and send it, and the teacher can access the work that they've done. And then a wrap up, which is a review of the vocabulary that they saw in the beginning. So in terms of supporting extensive reading, we've got access to lots of books. We've got reading along with adjustable speeds, so making it easier or harder depending on their level. There is an embedded dictionary, even if it's great if they don't have to do it every other word, but it's there, and it's access to Oxford dictionaries, of course, with lots of information and great for vocabulary building. There are achievement badges as well. So a student will know, always keep track of how many words they've written, or get a badge for, checking in every day, or how many books they've read, how many words they've read, etc. There are level tests and book recommendations. So if a child finishes a book, they'll get a recommendation if they liked it for a book that would be suitable to read afterwards. Also for adults, yes, there are also books for adults. You did the 2-week trial, great. Fact files, great. Not everybody wants to read a story. So there are nonfiction books in most of the series as well, so that people who want to read and learn about facts and things, science and music and whatever, they can do that as well. What age levels are the books? We're going to have a look at that right now. Up, you bear with me. Got to get into my, and I'll send you some links as well, with extra materials on using reading. Some of what we say today could go for a print library, obviously, as well. It just so happens that the Oxford Reading Club is new and is a nice, relatively inexpensive way to offer a huge library to students. It doesn't have to be all year long. It can be a month, it can be 3 months, etc. So you can go to this site now, oxfordreadingclub.com, and do a free trial, and you'll get 2 weeks access to 80 books across different series. I have full access. So we're going to have a look at my account. Up. How are we doing on time? All right, so this is sort of the home page. See books that I've looked at recently. Here's some of my badges, for example. The books themselves, like I said, there are, oh no, I went too far, excuse me. Sign it again. Hold on. How's that? Is that better? Great. Sorry. So starting over again. So here we see that there are 722 books. Most of there are over 12 different series. There's lots of primary books, but there are bookworms for adults as well. Get it just right here. You see reading stars in these. It's primary books. You'll have books from Dora and Paw Patrol. There's phonics readers, TikTok readers. Some of these are available in print as well, not all of them. So Reading Stars, Oxford Phonics World, Classic Tales, Oxford Read and Imagine, and Read and Discover are popular series. Let's choose one. Let's do a Let's Go reader. I'll show you. Sorry, I'll show you right away before. Then you've got Dominoes, which are lower secondary, sort of upper primary, lower secondary, of which there are 86, and then Bookworms, which are the adult books. There are 187 across the 7 levels. So there should be quite a few things there that they can read if they're adults as well. Let's go back to level 4. So we let's choose a pet show at a, hold on, this is going to take me a second because I've got to make sure that, okay, you can see that, good. So you see here the 5-step process here. Just give you an idea. The first thing is a game. It's vocabulary. If I can get it to go. Right up. I've got to make sure you can see my screen. Warm up, here we go. You should see loading. Do you see loading? Yes, okay.
Ready.
So to get the students
rabbit
into the game,
rabbit,
review some of the vocabulary that they may or may not know.
Sing.
Sing. Points here, so it's all gamified as well. So it's
window. Window. dance, dance. Bird, bird.
So how many points did I get? 95. Whoops. Hold on 1 second. It's going to be like this for a minute because I have to keep going back and forth. The new screens always pop up. So then we can do where we listen without seeing the text. Go.
Reader 4, The Pet Show.
So like I said, they have the images, they have the audio, they can slow it down, they can speed it up.
The music played. The turtle and the rabbit didn't dance. The fish swam in circles. The bird sang a song. Fluffy played with a string.
So they can slow it down, they can speed it up here.
Next,
We won't do it all.
we're going to have a race. Line up.
Said Missy.
My fish can't run.
Said Tina.
And then, of course, partager l'écran, library up. They can read it while listening. Hopefully, allez. There we go. Can you see that? The Pet Show? Yes. Okay. There's a lot to juggle here. I got lots of things popping up and trying to people coming into the room. I apologize. Bear with me. You can see the Pet Show. Yes. Okay. And so here, obviously, they've got the audio. And they can choose the page. They've got a tableau of the pages that come up. They've got a dictionary here. So if they want to enter, I see the word ribbon. If they want to find the word ribbon. Hold on, let me make sure you can see that. You can see that, okay. They get a dictionary entry for it. They can add that to a vocabulary list that is stored for them. So if they want to go back over it. There. They can obviously make notes and draw on it. They can have the text read to them as they
One
go along.
day, there was
Slow it
a
down.
pet show at Nick's school.
Speed it up.
There was a turtle, a rabbit, a fish, a bird, and a dog. Nick's cat Fluffy was in the pet show
So they
too.
could technically just listen because it auto reads, it auto plays.
Nick wanted to win a blue ribbon.
Up. Here we go. And hi everybody. I see you whenever I come back out of my room. And we go back in. All right. And then there's the speak up exercises. I'm conscious of time. We'll just look at an adult book. If you're interested in setting it up with your students, I'll do another webinar where I show you how to do that. But I wanted to first give you just a look at what it was and what you can do with it. Hold on. There we go. Start. You should be able to see the game now, or not the game, but the
Chirpy flew
the-
out the window.
Chirpy flew out the window. I have an excellent accent.
Great
Great
job.
Okay, and all of those are saved as well. So if you have the teacher's version with the LMS, you can listen to what the kids do. I won't do more. I know I can say the sentences. I really want to leave, and I want to go back in and go back into partager and do this. Up. There we go. And then there's another activity at the end that goes over similar to the first one, where they review the vocabulary that they do before reading the book. So they can do this lots of times, as many times as they want. And learn the book, read the book. And let's look at an adult one to give you an idea. Bookworms. There are some of those features. They don't have the 5 things where you read and you play, you touch flashcards and things like that. But you've got a nice selection of, those are some, let's see, kidnapped. Nonfiction and fiction books, classics, and hello, we've just got another one joining. I need to get rid of some of these things because I can't see what's going on. Okay, so here again, we've got the same things as before. We've got the dictionary. Soldier. You can see example sentences. Oh, not for this one. But most of the time, I've never seen one with that one. You got the pen, obviously, and they can have it. Oops. And they can have it read to them as well. So technically, if they're adults and they want to listen to an audiobook while they're in the car, they can do that as well. And then if they want to work on it as well, they can record themselves reading it. I don't know who wants to do that, but it's possible. So it can either be for a note, but you can also record record the story. But any questions about that? No, it's all very straightforward. Okay. Well then very quickly, just to finish up here. Is it suitable to one-to-one lesson? This is not something you do in the lesson. This is something that you give to your students. That's the difference. It's not a class book. You can have multiple learners. You can have a family. It's email based, so it's with the one account with one email. So you don't, technically other people could get on it as well. But otherwise it would be an access code per person. So if you have an adult who has access to it, and then they want their kids to read the primary books, aged books, because they're not going to do it, there's nothing stopping them from doing that. But again, this is something that's supposed to take place, outside of the classroom. One account per person is the way most things work from anything, because it's your own personal email address. But again, if you have an adult that's doing it, there's no reason that a child couldn't get on their account and read the primary books. You can have as many students as you want registered. There's different access. You can either, the access through a teacher is actually cheaper, and you've got an LMS. But if you don't want that, you can just get individual access for your students for 3 months, 4 months, or whatever, and they can do what they want with it. Any other questions? So like I said, it is something that's supposed to be take place outside of class, but if you're with no, there are no download. It's not downloadable material. No, it would be way more expensive. So yeah, Bill, if the adults have dictionary, have audio, they can read, they can practice their pronunciation, but they don't have the vocabulary games. And it doesn't have the only listen, because there aren't as many photos or images to read along with. So ways of bringing it into class so that it's sort of, you can sort of encourage them to use their access if you get it for them. Recognition, talking about it in class, recognizing students who have won certain badges, etc. Sharing, having them talk about it, even if it's in French for a couple minutes, what badges they've got, what books they've read. Assessment, you can assign points to it, obviously. Little 4-sentence summaries if they're in primary or have a very low level: who, what, where, when, say the main things of what happened in the story. to share with their classmates, give a book recommendation. If I'm interested, can I ask the school to grant me access to the book club? Sure, they would need to get in touch, and I could sell them access. Yes, this is for you or for your students, because you could have it for yourself, but you won't be able to share it with your students. It is not shareable at that level. I've gone over, that's right at my half hour. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Thank you. Like I said, I'll do the free trial, and I'll get back in touch in the next couple of months to do an onboarding webinar, so you can see how it works. In the meantime, obviously, if you have any questions, get in touch with me. I'm your gal, whether it's Oxford stuff or anybody's stuff, really. I'm the one to contact. And let me know if you have any questions about this or books or anything at all. I'll stick around for a minute or two if anybody wants to chat right now. For you, for a school, it would be around €4 a student per month. For 1 year, it depends on what access you get. Like I said, there's the one with the LMS, which is actually cheaper. I'll send through pricing in the follow-up email, so you can have an idea. Because you can get it for a month without the LMS. You can get a month, you can get 4 months, you can get 8 months or 9 months, or you can get it with the LMS and it's monthly renewal. But it's not necessarily something you want to have all year round. It's maybe something you want to do over vacation, where they have a reading list or things like that. So there's quite a bit of flexibility with the payment system. So it's just it depends on what you want to do with it, really. But I'll put together a follow-up email. Thank you. Yeah, it's a dramatized audio. So it's all read by a person, and it's, like I said, it's dramatized. You can have sounds and if it's a book by Edgar Allan Poe, it's an American accent. If it's a British writer, it's a British accent. Irish, etc. I do too. I'm a big fan of the audiobook. I'm afraid it's sort of taken over my reading. That means I can do other stuff. I don't have enough time to sit down and read, unfortunately, or I don't think I do. Or if I do, it's the end of the night and I'm exhausted and I just want to go to bed. We still have some people. Thank you. Okay, that's fine. OxfordReadingClub.com. You'll see free trial right there on the page. Now, if you have